This matrix is designed to sort of illustrate the recursive nature of the research process. So if you start in slice A, so to speak, you begin to move forward, but at all points you're going to need to go back at places along the way. So if you get all the way down to letter I, no matter what your answer is to that question, is my thinking evolving, are the new questions emerging, you must go back either way, yes or no. So you have to go all the way back to slice C or D in this instance. So I think that this is a good illustration to demonstrate the recursive nature of research. It's important to note that you don't get to developing your thesis statement until you get all the way down to F. There's a lot of pre-work that has to come before that. So if you come into the process thinking you already know what your thesis statement is going to be, then you're kind of skipping a lot of steps, or it could be said you're even cheating. Because that's half the process is getting to writing the thesis statement. And then after that, there's a whole other second part of the process that involves the creating. So having said that, I do want to talk a little bit about the thesis statement, since we had a number of choices to choose from, and I think some of you had some confusion over which would be the appropriate one. Remember that the question is, which of the following thesis statement is best suited for an 11th grade research paper on affirmative action? And this one really does meet the criteria in many ways. First of all, because it's an although statement, so it invites the author to include multiple perspectives on the topic, and it is also really quite doable in terms of researchability and also provability. It is possible to substantiate that statement with objective resources. What this statement lacks is balance. It's going to make for a really tedious paper, because if the entire paper is all about proving just that, it doesn't really invite any alternative perspective or outlook, and that's going to be problematic for both the writer and the reader. This one is really close to good. But here's the problem with it. It speaks to feelings among the public, so racial animosity and racial division and resentment. This is going to be really hard to demonstrate unless you do a full-on major research study, because there really isn't any documentation for that kind of emotional response. And I think that's its chief problem. You can see how close these two thesis statements are, but the difference between the first and the second is really just that provability piece. And this last one is just too broad. It's not a doable research thesis statement for an 11th grader working on a research paper. Honestly, it wouldn't even make for a thesis for a book. It just really needs a great deal of refinement.